What's up, everybody? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. With the NA Major coming to a close, which I talked about in yesterday's recap, it has officially opened up the trade window for the next split. With the spring split approaching, that opens up the opportunities for a lot of teams that are without the position of 6th and higher to go to the World Championship, trying to figure out whether they should make any final changes for that big push to make it into the top 6, or if they want to do something to either further solidify that, or something along the lines of, you know what, we're kind of out of the running, but what are these options to make our team better? So in today's video, we're going to be starting the first round of roster rumors. There's been a lot that have been circulating, a lot of different teams and stuff that are trying to figure out what their next step is to see if they can get some improvement. And for a lot of teams, normally that is changing out a player rather than sticking and building upon the roster that they currently have. We're also starting to see some organizations fall out of the RLCS as well. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down all of that and more. What is up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. If you guys are not familiar with the channel, we cover all things Rocket League, like mentioned just a second ago, and with that also comes a lot of the roster rumors. Right now, the trade window is starting to begin, and because of that, a lot of teams are going to be swapping in and out. I talked about this in a couple videos ago about how I'm trying to save up a bunch of them so I can group them all together rather than making you guys watch a 2-minute video here, 2-minute video there. I'm going to try to compile a bunch, so it may not be the latest rumors up to date, but it will be a compilation of everything that has come up to a certain point, and I'll try to put these out as frequently as possible. With that said, we've got I think 6 or 7 to talk about in today's video, so let's get straight into that. But before we do so, as always, if you guys would like to further discuss these, if you'd like to theory craft, if you would like to, I guess, talk openly about my thoughts on these things, the best thing you can do is, if you guys want to check out the description down below, not only can you find links to everything I'm talking about and the origination of where these have been shown, but you can also find links to all my social medias, primarily Twitch, over at twitch.tv/Lawler. I stream every day, but Tuesday you can come and discuss openly about all things Rocket League. We'd love to have you. Also, while you're down there, if you enjoy the content, thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn notifications, all that fun stuff. That way you don't miss out on any of the news. But let's dive straight in. First things first, there's been a lot of talks following the Galaxy Racer roster. This one came to a shock with the initial rumors, just because they are a top 8 team and have potential to actually make it into the top 6 and go to the World Championship. So with them switching up Eekso, it was kind of a surprise if it was true. So the rumor shows that, and from my inside sources, like, Eekso is 100% out of the picture. I don't know if it's a mentality issue or what the situation is, but it does look like Eekso will no longer be on GXR, and they have been trying out a bunch of different rosters. Because of that, Eekso has also been trying out for other places, and it says that he was apparently trying out for Rix.GG. He was supposedly scrimming alongside the duo of Mike Boy and Cash, which means that Magnus would be the one out. Some insight was also provided by the founder of Shift, the one who usually outputs all these rumors. He says, not worth an official tweet since it's not possible anymore, but here it goes. Galaxy Racer were actually in talks with Endpoint over the potential buyout of Relating Wave. Because there was 2 different organizations that both have physical representation, with Galaxy Racer being a org based in Saudi Arabia, and then you also have Endpoint with the obviously Virtuoso, Metzenaris, and Relating Wave. Because they have representation, they have contracts that they have to complete. When that is a thing that kind of gets in the way, these 2 organizations, GXR and Endpoint, have to communicate and say, hey, like, conversation, we want this player. What's his contract length? How much is it going to take for us to take him from you? Is it a viable thing? Do we even want that to be allowed to happen? So a lot of different factors really come into play when you have organizations trying to poach, or I wouldn't even say poach, but pick up a different player for the roster. So after they kind of figure out all the details of the contracts and everything else going on, then it's just a matter of figuring out Tryouts to see if it's even a possibility and if the roster even plays well. I don't know if this means that Relating Wave was interested in trying it out. I've heard rumors of both Mets and Virtuoso saying we want to keep Relating Wave here, and rightfully so. He's a fantastic third man, a great defender, who doesn't have issues moving up, but they didn't want to limit his opportunities to also try out for another team. So that is what I've heard. Whether that is true or not, we will find out. But the fact that he even tried out for the team, or possibly tried out for the team, is kind of interesting to me based upon Endpoint's circumstances. Either way, it ends up not happening, so I understand why it doesn't go on Shift, and it is only put out by the founder. Focusing still on Galaxy Racer, because there are a lot of talks of this, and this is going to happen, obviously, with them being a top 8 team. Alongside Cash, Bluey has also received tryouts at Galaxy Racer in place of Eekso. So Again, further confirmation that it looks like Eekso is 100% of the way out, and that you have both Cash and Bluey, both phenomenally mechanical players, trying to try out in place of Eekso, which he's been kind of that second clutch factor in their offense. Arju leads the charge, and then it's either Matane or Eekso to really pick up the pieces and kind of put things away. I do think personally that Bluey would be a phenomenal fit for that. But the weird thing about this came just a few weeks after the duo of Bluey and Tadpole for Triple Trouble added Rise to the roster. So again, this is kind of the complication of these roster rumors and the trade window, is that as soon as one piece of the puzzle goes somewhere else, it's this big domino effect of players trying out for different things, even though they may have a solidified roster. Case in point, you're seeing Triple Trouble bring in a new player in Rise. All of a sudden, this other spot is available, and both of them are like, oh yeah, I'm going to jump ship and see if I can get here, because it's an opportunity to go to the World Championships and make a run, and that is going to be happening a lot again in the next couple of weeks. Jumping a bit away from the Galaxy Racer train, we are going to take a look at Solary, and it does look like Kerian has received a tryout at Wolves, potentially replacing Louis P on the roster. He also did sign up for the Elemental Series Open Qualifiers. They're running their second iteration of tournaments, and I will say that this iteration of the roster with Cookster, Yukio, and Kerian did not go well. They did not qualify at all. Rizex was supposed to be the initial third, so it does look like they are rotating a bunch of different rosters. I've also heard of tryouts not even including Cookster at all, so some different iterations of the roster that they're trying to put together. Over in North America, we do have the Down to Earth roster no longer represented by Down to Earth. For those that do not remember the full story, Down to Earth used to represent a team called Continuum, which is where Kronovi now plays. They then dropped that roster and then picked up the Zookeepers. The Zookeepers are no longer represented by Down to Earth either. Whether Down to Earth comes back in for a third time or not, we do not know. We'll have to keep tabs to see if they are just kind of pump and dumping rosters rather than stonks. Mentioned the tryouts of rosters without Cookser, and it is Eekso who is possibly taking his spot. Eekso has obviously been a talented player in trying out with a bunch of different rosters. It looks like that he tried out for flip-flop tactics without Cookser in his place. So it would have been Yukio and Kerian, or Yukio and Rizex is the potential three. He did try out in Wolves in place of Louis P as well. Wolves also attempted to try out Stealth in place of Louis P. And then it looks like Eekso also in place of Kerian on Solary. So again, Eekso trying out a bunch of different places. What is the reasoning for him leaving GXR? Again, I assume would have to be mentality because of where they're at. But the fact that he's getting so many tryouts, people recognize how much pop-off potential that Eekso has had. As a caster who used to cover them in the grid when they were the Monkeys, I'm fully understanding of this is a potential thing. So again, a lot of different roster rumors going all over the place. Last but not least, for the rumors today, and I understand this stuff is all over the place and it's super complicated to follow, but again, hopefully the graphics that are being displayed give you a visual representation so it makes a bit more sense. I will, after the trade window is over, as always, as well as if you guys go into my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Lawler, you can do !RLCS rosters. That command will pull up a document and it will have the finalized and updated rosters across all three splits. I also update that on my stream live. So if you guys would like to stay up to date, either make sure that you're paying attention to the graphics or that document because it'll do it for you. As for the last information for today, you have TrainHard Esports, which will no longer be the roster that it was. Ekon is now relieving himself from the team. It is Cryptos, Cataclysm, and Magix for the spring split. He is no longer a part of that roster. In his tweet, he does also mention that he wishes them the best for the next step of their careers. They deserve it so much, and I loved all the moments spent together. Good luck, brothers, and stay tuned. Implying that it looks like he may be going elsewhere or being picked up somewhere else, which is pretty common for a lot of these players where there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching after these announcements happen, or he is making this change because he has found a different team. Like I mentioned, roster changes and conversations all over the place. Again, these are all rumors. None of these are official, but Shift has kind of deemed themselves as a pretty reputable source. So it will be interesting to see what their track record is. Maybe I'll have to do that and see how many of these they get right. But there's a lot of moving parts going on when these rosters are happening. And we haven't even heard of the big ones just yet. There's a couple that I'm sitting on that, again, inside sources can't really leak the information just yet. So looking forward to seeing more and more of these come out because there is some pretty big ones in the works. But ultimately, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to see the source information for these, where these posts have happened, description down below, leave comments down below. And while you're down there, if you enjoy the content, thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll catch you next time. Peace.